Hello, it's Peripheral Labs. Well, David from Peripheral Labs, but I'm getting confused. Anyways, today is a random game called the Juno Incident, which was made during the 7-day FPS challenge, which is like a game jam. It's pretty random. It has aliens and zero-ish low gravity. I'll put a link. You can go play it for free. It's pretty fun. Anyways, I wanted to move on to the subject for the science discussion, talk, thoughts, something like that. Anyways, I wanted to talk about the Hyperloop because, let's be honest, it's cool. A Hyperloop is this super fast transportation method that was proposed by Elon Musk, who is basically the real life Iron Man, Tony Stark. He doesn't actually have an Iron Man suit, but he is Iron Man in the sense that he's a super rich billionaire inventor that likes games and that sort of thing. And he's proposed this sort of train-like device called the Hyperloop, obviously, which is supposed to travel at a max speed of 760 miles per hour or 1,200 kilometers per hour, which, as you may know, is the speed of sound. And it proposes to do this to transport people from San Francisco to Los Angeles in like 30 minutes, 20 minutes, which is very, very, very fast. But what's very interesting is how he proposes that it works. What he wants to do, like, there's a lot of confusion. This is why I wanted to make the video. There's a lot of confusion about why and how it works. A lot of people think that it is a maglev train. It actually isn't, although it uses something similar to propel itself, not all of the time. Basically what it does is the capsule, the pod that the people go in, is inside a sealed tube, and because of air resistance, the faster you go, the air gets basically thicker in front of you as the pressure builds, and it becomes more difficult and requires more energy to go faster because you have to push all the air out of the way. So some people suggested years ago that why don't you just have it inside a tube and suck all the air out? Now in practice in theory that is fine, but in practice that's pretty difficult to do because how do you keep the tube airtight? What if there's a leak somewhere along the tube? If it's a tube going from Los Angeles to San Francisco, it's pretty difficult to keep it airtight. So what Elon Musk proposes is that it's not a complete vacuum. Vacuum being a chamber with no air in it, just in case you didn't know that. A partial vacuum, and so having 1,000th an atmospheric pressure unit inside there. So it has some air but very little, and that means the air resistance is not nearly as bad, but there is air, which means you don't need to worry about leaks too much, because pumps will just be on all the time, sucking air out and keeping it at a constant 1,000th of an atmospheric pressure. That's 1,000th of the pressure of air at sea level, by the way. So then what it does is it has an air compressor at the front of the pod, that sucks in the air that is building up in front of it and compresses it and then blows it out the back, which obviously means that instead of getting like the Bugatti Veyron, for example, it's almost, when it's at full speed, it's almost like it's driving through a thick treacle. That is the consistency of the air in front of it, and it has to push its way through that. But what this capsule is going to do is take all that thick treacly air in front of it and compress it and then blow it out the back, which obviously will propel it along. And yeah, but another thing that that this does is it solves another problem, is that the air that's being compressed can be funneled down the bottom and the sides and the top of the pod and blown out through little tubes throughout the bottom and the side of the pod. And what this means is it'll push it off the surface of the tube, which essentially means it floats. It floats on a cushion of air. It's surrounded by a thin layer of air all around it, which means it's not touching the ground or the walls, which means it has no resistance from wheels or and it doesn't use a maglev system to float. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then the next thing is a question that is proposed. I've got the PDF, 58-page PDF file here that Elon Musk has released, which I'll link in the description and you can go read it. But a question is posed then. This system then obviously requires there to be a lot of air in front of the pod that can be compressed and blown at the back. So how do you get it up to speed? And that question has been answered by Elon Musk by proposing to use a thing called a linear induction motor to get it up to speed. And a linear induction motor is essentially the same thing as an electric motor that you're used to, except an electric motor has a coil of copper wires that have an electric current flowing through them, which obviously in turn creates a magnetic field, which because it's tied because it's in a circle, it causes angular momentum to be built up, angular acceleration, which makes the electric motor spin, which is what you're used to. But instead of that, a linear induction motor has the copper wire electromagnets in a line instead of in a circle. So instead of propelling or providing angular velocity, it propels the object in a straight line, hence the name linear induction motor, linear being straight line. And so he proposes that in less than 1% the length of the tube railway, if you want to call it that, has these linear induction motors that the capsule slots into. It has the rails, if you will, that slot into the linear induction motor, and they will basically propel it. And it actually, I can't remember where exactly the piece of information is. I'm just looking through the PDF here, but I think he said that like every 50,000 or every 50 kilometers or something, there would be a new linear induction motor to boost it up to speed again. So let's see if I can find it here. I can't find it. You can read the PDF yourself and find out. But essentially, every set amount of kilometers, it's boosted up to speed again. So essentially, for a majority of its journey, it's coasting on the air that it's blowing out of the back that it's getting from its front. And so yeah, the linear induction motor, I find the most fascinating part of it, because this small linear induction motor that's going to be, I don't know, tens of meters long, which is not very long compared to the entire length of the railway, has to get the thing up to top speed of 1,200 kilometers an hour. And it has to do it without causing huge amounts of g-forces to be subjected onto the passengers. And he proposes that it'll only require 9g, or not 9, sorry, it'll only have 1g, which means it needs to accelerate it up to a ridiculous speed, but not so fast that everyone gets stuck to their seats from the sheer acceleration of going so fast. Another thing is, where do you get the energy for all this? Well, he proposes to cover the whole thing in solar arrays, which will provide plenty enough electricity for it, although I don't know how he's worked that out. I presume he's a genius and he can work that out correctly. Anyways, it's nearly the end of the video, so if you like the Hyperloop, go do some research, read the article, the PDF that I've linked below, and like the video and subscribe it and tell all your friends, because you know that's the nice thing to do. And of course, thank you for watching. Oh, and if you have any other ideas for videos, please put a comment below, or send me on Twitter. I'll put a thing up in the thing, and yep.